From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fairbanks Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story this evening, Golden Valley Electric Association has taken another step toward getting natural gas to Fairbanks. The utility has applied to the Department of Natural Resources for a lease to build a half-mile-long pipeline on the North Slope. That line would be part of the system to truck gas to the interior. Now, the line would run from Flow Station 3 to a point where Golden Valley hopes a liquefaction facility will be built in the future. According to the DNR application, GVEA plans to transport about 29.5 million cubic feet of liquefied natural gas through the pipeline per day. The State of Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation, or DEC, has a late Christmas gift for agencies in the interior who are involved with water projects. It was announced Wednesday that DEC will be making up to $450,000 in grants to be applied toward clean water projects. Waters that are polluted or at risk get the highest priority for grant awards. However, projects that are concerned with septic systems, stormwater controls, or green infrastructure would be good candidates. Agencies that would like to be considered for one of these grants have until the 14th of February to apply.
Yeah, the Alaska Clean Water Action Grants are handed out every year. The money comes from the EPA, so it's an EPA pass-through grant that really the EPA just gives us the funding, and the state administers this funding through a grant program to different organizations who want to make a difference in the waters in their area.
A Fairbanks man currently jailed on a murder charge has now been arraigned on charges of 2 separate armed robberies. Jacques Lisby has been in jail since 2011 on the charge of shooting Malik Moore to death back in August of 2011. Earlier this week, Lisby was arraigned on the charge of robbing 2 different sourdough fuel gas stations, which reportedly took place a week before Moore's death. Police say they linked Lisby to the robberies based on a search of Lisby's College Inn room, in which a ski mask and rifle were uncovered. Well, the idea of moving the F-16 Aggressor Squadron from Eielson Air Force Base to Anchorage made headlines this year. A study showed a tight housing market in Anchorage would not support the idea. In mid-November, News Center 11's Monty Bowen filed this report on the dilemma.
The study is part of an Air Force analysis of the impact of moving the F-16 fighters from Eielson to Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson. Senator Mark Bagan said it validates concerns he and others have raised about any move.
And it clearly shows that the housing market of Anchorage is very tight. It's another challenge that they would have to overcome. And because of that, it would probably add additional cost to the move.
He says the study will be part of a larger decision document that is expected to be released later. The military has proposed moving the fighter jets as part of an effort that they say would save up to $200 million. Monty Bowen, News Center 11.
Okay, the weather is cooperating, but will it cooperate through the weekend? Mike Schultz has the answer, and he joins us now with our first look at weather. Mike.
Hey, Daryl, it was a little bit warmer today, but for good reason. It's going to get even warmer. Here's why. Taking a look at our day's satellite picture, you can see all the flow is coming out of the south. When that happens, we get nothing but warm temperatures and some mid-level cloudiness, no precipitation expected out of this. But the good news is we are getting warmer temperatures. We're talking temperatures in the low to mid-20s in some areas, and even warmer the higher elevations you go. In the lower 48, the big storms are out of the picture. Well, not quite. There's another one developing in the Midwest. We'll tell you more about that, and we'll talk about all the weather and especially that great weekend that's coming up later on. Daryl?
All right, very well. Thank you, Mike. When we come back, we take a look at more of the top stories from 2012. That's after the break. Stay with us.
This edition of the Fairbanks Evening News is brought to you by Prospector Outfitters, Kendall Auto of Fairbanks, First National Bank of Alaska, Napa Auto Parts.
Continuing our look back at the top news stories of 2012, a contract negotiation impasse between the Fairbanks North Star Borough School District and the Fairbanks Education Association caused quite a bit of heartburn for educators and school administrators alike. Prior to arbitration, the Fairbanks North Star Borough School District and the Fairbanks Education Association were close to agreement on key provisions of a new contract. The school district negotiated longevity payments only for a year, not a multi-year deal the teachers union favored.
We are bargaining this year's contract. We will expect to bargain next year's contract, very shortly. And when we bargain that agreement, then, we will be taking up again the subject of salaries.
The Teachers Association wanted guaranteed payments for educators who have already topped out on the salary schedule, which also would incentivize younger teachers.
The recruitment and retention of young teachers coming in is essential to this community. We want good, highly qualified, committed young teachers coming in.
An arbitrator was brought in to help negotiations. The school district offered a 1.25% increase to wages in addition to a $1,500 stipend for topped-out teachers, even though arbitrator Richard Humphreys agreed with the school district's opinion that salary ranges were comparable to wages in other state school districts. FEA responded by saying salaries did not reflect the higher cost of living nor funding increases from the state. In the end, the school district offered and teachers agreed to a 2-year contract, which included a 1.5% increase to salaries and the $1,500 stipend for topped-out teachers. The second-year agreement calls for a 1.75% increase, a $100 increase per schedule cell, and the $1,500 stipend. For the better part of the summer of 2012, residents of Fairbanks and North Pole smelled smoke in the air as the Dry Creek fire burned on the outskirts of town. The Bureau of Land Management Alaska Fire Service monitored the fire that was located south of the Tanana River on Fort Wainwright lands. The fire, caused by lightning on June 23rd, had increased in size, and smoldering was the main reason for the smoke, which rose to around 5,000 feet. Alaska Fire Service, along with Borough Air Quality Control, said at the time they were hoping for rain and also hoping the fire would die down, but the fire continued to cause issues well into the fall. Back in late May, the state fire marshal investigated the cause of a structure fire that destroyed a large home and claimed the life of the female occupant inside. News Center 11's Daryl Lewis was on scene at the time and filed this report.
Neighbors living near the large home located on Rosac Road just off the Richardson Highway say the fire may have been burning for quite some time before they were alerted to it. One eyewitness I spoke to described a chaotic scene in which he made numerous attempts to enter the burning structure.
And I went over there, tried to kick the door in, couldn't open it, and the fire just got out of control.
Locked inside the house, a 40-year-old woman identified by family members as Lori Jugic. They say while firefighters were able to pull her out of the burning home, she later succumbed to her injuries. Jugic's daughter, Jasmine States, speaks further on the loss of her mother.
But my mom didn't make it. She was asleep in the smoke. The smoke is what she was sleeping.
I just feel really bad that I couldn't get in there to save her.
Daryl Lewis, News Center 11.
Tributes to the victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shootings have poured in from around the world, including here in Alaska. That's where Jim Brown has carved snow and ice sculptures for years. Now he's lending his talent to a good cause. Adam Pinsker has more on Brown's touching tribute to the Sandy Hook victims.
Just a little too windy out here to get the other ones going.
Jim Brown's snow and ice sculpting skills have taken him to competitions in Fairbanks, California, and Dallas, and he also likes to show off his craft on his front lawn.
And the point of this is not to see if I can outdistance somebody. It's just to show a little respect to all these kids.
But this isn't your traditional nativity scene. The 20 angels gazing into the winter sky symbolize the children murdered December 14th at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut.
I started working on it basically Thursday, so I had it done Saturday afternoon, and we tried lighting it up on Christmas Eve, but it was just a little too windy, so we used the artificial candles we have here.
He used snow that came down from recent storms, molded it into the right consistency, then carved the faces and wings with power tools and a chainsaw.
A lot of people come by, and we were wondering if they would get the connection of the 20 angels, and everybody has.
Honestly, I'd driven by this a few times before, and I thought they were just, statues that had been placed out. I had no idea they'd been actually hand-carved, and that makes it even more impressive, I think.
Brown says this is just his way of showing support to the victims and families and residents of Newtown, a community that's still in mourning.
I'm a father and grandfather and great-grandfather, so I know what it's like to have children.
Even the coldest-looking displays of kindness have a way of warming the heart.
Okay, Joe Cook joins me now with a look at sports. We've been doing our news in review, and you have some of that, but there's also more sports out there, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. We're going to find out how one of the area teams did in their first game of a holiday tournament in Phoenix, Arizona. And also, we continue the sports year in review, and that's coming up next in sports.
Brought to you by the Law Office of Rita T. Alley. Peace of mind through professional legal services.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this Thursday evening. We got a little bit of sports to talk about, so let's get to it. During the holiday break, high school basketball teams travel around the country playing in tournaments, developing team chemistry and team bonding from their road trips. The Lathrop Malamutes, they got the first taste of this, having played their first game last night in the Phoenix Cactus Jam High School Basketball Tournament. The Malamutes faced Cedar Park Christian School out of Everett, Washington. The Malamutes lost 68-66, a close one there. The tournament is in its 13th year. 10 teams from Alaska have participated in this tournament. Lathrop is in its 4th year, but no team from Alaska has won the tournament. Next up for the Malamutes is Medicine Hat out of Canada. We continue our year in review for 2012 for sports with one of the pillars of boat racing. It'd be hard for one to think of the Yukon 800 without thinking of Bill Page. But as the saying goes, all things must come to an end. Page retired from the Yukon 800 back in August and goes down as one of the greats, winning the title of King of the River 5 times, which is tied for second most all time. His first win was back in 1978, and his last was in 2004. Nearly 30 years of being part of the world's longest boat race, dubbed the survival of the fittest. We flash back to a report by Daryl Lewis on Bill Page.
Simply put, he's a legend. Mention the name Bill Page among those riverboat racing enthusiasts, and even at 76 years of age, he's still feared. But last Sunday, the 5-time Yukon 800 marathon racer called it a career, saying there's nothing much more to accomplish.
This is it. Beautiful day.
Yeah, it's been a long road. Talk to me about it, man.
Well, it's just, you know, it's been a long road, and the boaters keep getting fewer and fewer, and I thought, well, I guess it's time to quit.
The 76-year-old Page says what he'll miss most is what's behind me, being out on the waterways. But longtime friend and mentor Mo Samuelson, who affectionately calls Page Willie, says it's about time he retired.
He came over and asked me if he could drive for me at the time, and that's 1975, and then last 2 or 3 years, or a couple of years, I've been asking him to, Willie, we're getting up in years, it's kind of maybe time to think of retiring, and I think he just finally realized that he needs to do that.
Now where he goes from here, Page says he has no idea. Save for a 60-year high school class reunion in Michigan. Members of his team say Slow-Mo will sell for $6,500, and they want it. But above all, Page says he's had the time of his life racing, and the many lives he's touched because of it says it all right here.
But see, you thought you were just going to go out with nobody noticing, and just all on your own, and look what we
didn't make it.
Oh, no problem.
And finally, tonight we take a look at another local Olympian. The Owlson Ravens, both past and present, love and cherish the moment when Janae DeLoach won the bronze medal in the women's long jump at the 2012 Olympic Games in London. DeLoach went to Ben Owlson High School and still holds the state record in long jump at 19 feet 5 inches, which she set in 2002. She was recruited by Colorado State University and became a 3-time All-American. DeLoach burst on the scene in 2011, winning the indoor long jump at the U.S. National Championships with the third furthest jump in a decade. DeLoach would win the bronze with a 6.89-meter long jump. It was her first time competing for the U.S. Olympic team and her first Olympic medal.
I describe how I feel right now. I'm on top of the world. I feel amazing, and it's a blessing that I was able to accomplish it by a centimeter.
Well, yeah, I started out in Alaska for 4 years of my high school, and like you said, we had maybe 3 or 4 meets a year, maybe 6 at the most, and it was kind of for fun. We didn't have time to practice or do anything just because of the permafrost. So when we did get out there, it was all about competition, and that kind of led the way for where I am today.
Wow, good stuff there, and that'll do it for sports this Thursday night. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. Remember, you can get more of KTVF 11 sports coverage on YouTube and on webcenter11.com. And follow us on Twitter. Just search KTVF 11 Sports. Stay cool, Alaska. Mike Schultz has your full weather forecast coming up next. We'll catch you next time.
Guys, once again, I'm very happy to announce that temperatures are going to be in the 20s above by this weekend.
Wow.
Excellent.
That's great.
It is good news.
Oh, it's really good. You know, I know a lot of cross-country skiers out there that haven't had a chance this year due to the cold weather.
I've had many New Year's Eves where it's been 40 below, so this should help fireworks displays too.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great weekend and a good New Year's. We'll talk more about that in a little bit.
Perfect.
Let's take a look at what's going on at the airport right now. It is 8 degrees below zero. Our high for the day, 4 degrees below zero. The overnight low, 19 below. Now the record high was 38 in 1909. Record low, 56 below in 1961. And the sunrise this morning, not quite 11 o'clock. The sun set about 2:48 this afternoon, giving us 3 hours, 49 minutes of daylight, a gain of 2 minutes from yesterday. The barometer still falling at 2955. Our picture for today is sent in by C.J. Leonelli, a sunrise in North Pole. Nice colors there. Good shot. If you have a photograph to share, by all means, send it to Mike Schultz at KTVF11.com. Here's what's going on across the rest of the state. As you can see, we have a little bit of activity going on. A few snow showers still lingering across the Ketchikan area. 23 degrees at Juneau. Elsewhere, some rain and snow shower activity, mainly rain around Kodiak Island, 39 degrees there. Up and down the west coast, temperatures, again, very comfortable in the mid-20s to 34 degrees at Cold Bay. Not too bad at Barrow, 7 degrees below zero, but look at Fort Yukon. Still can't get out of those chilly temperatures, 26 degrees below zero. Now the lower 48, they're getting a little bit of a breather between storms right now. There's a little bit of snow falling across the Central Plains, more rain falling across the Texas area, which a couple days ago had snow around Dallas-Fort Worth. Not too bad up and down the west coast, but what is happening to that storm that brought all the heavy snow? Well, it's still exiting the country, but still bringing a lot of snow across parts of upstate New York. And there's the next storm moving across the Central Plains into the Great Lakes. And yet another storm moving on the west coast. That's going to bring more weather with it. And very cold temperatures will continue to move in behind this storm system as it exits out of the Atlantic Ocean, bringing a mix of rain across the New England area. And the overall outlook for this weekend, a mix of rain and snow once again over the northeast, down to the south. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms, nothing severe expected. More snow showers across the northern Rockies. A few showers up and down the west coast, so all in all, not too bad. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow, starting in the northern sections. Flurries in Barrow, snow developing for Nome, and cloudy skies at Fort Yukon. It'll be 6 below at Barrow, 26 in Nome, and Fort Yukon at 14 below, quite a bit warmer than today. Over the interior, looking at decreasing clouds at Fairbanks and Denali Park, a little warmer. In fact, 12 degrees for the high in Fairbanks, 24 at Denali Park. Over southeast Alaska, most of the showers will be moving out of the picture. Still a few rain and snow showers ending in the Juneau area, and some mixed showers for Ketchikan, 35 at Juneau, 38 at Ketchikan. Out over to the southwest, looking at snow at Bethel, rainy conditions at Cold Bay, and more rain expected for Kodiak Island with a high of 39 degrees. You can understand why. And over the south central regions, cloudy skies in Anchorage, rain and snow showers at Homer, and snow expected to develop once again in the Valdez area, 30 degrees at Valdez, 31 at Anchorage, and 37 at Homer. Again, time for our kids' weather, and we're having the kids taking a break right now for Christmas vacation. As you can see, our weather fact for tonight, in 2004, heavy rains hit parts of California, setting record daily amounts, and those haven't been broken for quite a while. Mount McKinley Bank, thanks for sponsoring our Kids Weather Watch. And next week, well, actually, maybe 2 weeks from now, North Pole Elementary School will be our guest with the week of January 9th. It is a Thursday night, which means it's time for our road conditions, brought to you by Jose Body and Paint and the Department of Transportation for Alaska. Station Elliott Highway, snow removal equipment on the roadways there, so keep an eye out for those guys. Richardson Highway, gusty winds are still around the Delta Junction area, and the icy roads makes that really tough. And the Parks Highway, some drifting snow, reducing visibility. So keep all that in mind if you're out driving. Here's your advisory air quality index. We just can't seem to get away from this through 5 p.m. tomorrow. Unhealthy for Fairbanks and very unhealthy for North Pole, so keep that in mind if you have any health problems, respiratory, and you keep the kids inside just to be safe. Okay, now here's our forecast for tonight. 14 below, mostly clear skies, continue quite chilly. Tomorrow's forecast will rebound nicely, quite a bit warmer with clouds slowly decreasing, but the good news is, like I've been saying for the last few nights, Looks like beautiful weather moving into the weekend. Saturday, 20 degrees. Sunday, 17 degrees. Maybe we'll even see some snow shower activity on Saturday evening, but that'll move out pretty quickly. And for the rest of the holiday weekend into New Year's Day, looking at temperatures in the teens above, mid-teens above, overnight lows in the single digits below. And not bad at all for July 4th. I'm right. For January 1st.
July 4th, okay. Bad
I was
July
thinking
4th.
of fireworks, and I got the two mixed up.
That's right. And Joe, in 2000, it was 45 below in New Year's Eve. So yeah,
and the fireworks just went.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, on that note, that'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC 19 News, the latest on the fiscal cliff. That's next with Natalie Morales.
Now, we're receiving word that a traffic accident on College Road at Old Steve's Highway has caused a power outage in the area, including traffic lights. Fairbanks police are asking motorists to avoid the area for at least an hour.
Okay, thanks, Mike. That's good advice. From all of us here at the News Center, we hope you have a good night.
Good night.